All right, so this Kyrie rabbit hole just got a little bit deeper. So if y'all don't know, if y'all haven't seen it yet, the same documentary that Kyrie Irving posted, shared the link to, didn't say anything about the documentary, just shared the link to. Shaquille O'Neal played that in his movie theater 3 years ago in New Jersey, 2018. Now, again, I'm not going to say Shaquille O'Neal specifically played it or requested it, but this movie played in his theater. And why that's a big deal is because Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal talked about this man like he was a dog on national television. They had so much vitriol for this man on national television, and this same documentary played in Shaquille O'Neal's theater. And why that's interesting for me is because I want to see now how they handle this with Shaquille O'Neal. Are they going to have the same type of animosity and smoke for Shaquille O'Neal? How is TNT going to handle this situation? You know what I'm saying? And I kind of have an idea about how it's going to go. I don't think it's going to go like many people want it to go. Like, I don't think Shaquille O'Neal is going to get the same type of smoke because, again, there's so many questions to be asked when you think about it, right? Is, you know what I'm saying? Is this a movie that he requested to be played in this theater? It's highly unlikely that he even knew this thing played in this theater. You know, Shaquille O'Neal owns a lot of businesses. But to me, it's just kind of unacceptable. Like, if you're going to go after a guy on live television like you and Charles Barkley did, and then it comes to find out that this movie played in your theater 3 years ago, that's not to be taken lightly. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. And the reason that I'm so interested in seeing how the outcome is just basically how they treated Kyrie Irving. Now, before I kind of get into the questions that I have, I'm saying this from a non-biased perspective, right? Looking at how this situation was handled, looking at how the Kanye West situation was handled, it makes me ask questions, right? Is one of the questions I have is like, are we handling public conflict in a way that is honorable? Because right now what I see is like when someone does something that's controversial, I feel like there's really no forgiveness. And the fact that we're dealing with religion right now, whether you want to say that it's religious or not, we are dealing with a religious group. And a lot of religions talk about forgiveness, understanding, patience, not judging someone for the errors of their ways. And I'm not seeing that in the media. And I'm not saying that the media should have a religious approach to how they do their things, how they do their stories and everything like that. But at the same time, it's like, when do we accept the responsibility of how we treat a person? Y'all have to understand the amount of weight and the amount of pressure that is on these media personalities, these stars, these people that air quote get in trouble for their beliefs or their actions. It feels like the whole world is looking at them right now and saying, no, you're bad, right? And on top of that, it's just how they're handling it, right? A lot of people ask a question. I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna bring this up right now. A lot of people are asking the question, why is nobody talking about Amazon? And the reason nobody's talking about Amazon is because the NBA and Amazon have a major exclusive streaming deal in the pipeline right now. They have a major deal in the works. So that's why the NBA and Adam Silver hasn't addressed this, which is kind of crazy because, right, when Kyrie did his interview, and he took accountability for his actions, whether people want to believe it or not, you can't force somebody to apologize how you want them to apologize. He, out of his own mouth, said, I take accountability. I take responsibility for posting the documentary, and whoever it hurt. He said that. Those were his words. He's not saying I apologize directly, but he's taking accountability. One of the reporters stated, Adam Silver, I think Adam Silver wants to hear you say, I'm sorry. To me, at first, when I first heard that, that was weird, right? But then I realized during my research, Adam Silver's Jewish, so he has a personal interest in this. Like he could also potentially be hurt by what Kyrie Irving did. Okay. Right. But then it's like, yeah, you do ask the question, why is nobody talking about Amazon? Why hasn't, you know what I'm saying, Adam Silver addressed Amazon? And they got this deal in the work, and it kind of makes you think, but I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna leave it at that, right? But then yeah, Kyrie Irving got suspended after that because he didn't apologize the way that people wanted him to apologize. And I think that's why a lot of people are mad. A lot of people were just like, you know what I'm saying? People were watching and people were understanding. I was like, okay, I understand. Like, if y'all felt like the documentary was anti-Semitic and it had some harsh rhetoric towards the Jewish people in it, I understand that. Like, that's not acceptable, right? And then from a business standpoint, I understand that as well. From a financial standpoint, as a representation of the organization, everybody understood that, right? But then it's like, all right, you suspend the guy for not saying sorry. So you suspended the guy for what he didn't do versus what he did. And it's like, okay, why didn't you just suspend the guy when he first posted the link? So it kind of seems like a weird power move when you suspend a guy after he doesn't say exactly what you want him to say. And a lot of people could come back and say, well, he's an employee of this organization, yada, yada. I understand that, but they're not treating him like an employee. They're treating him like a contractor right now, because usually when an employee gets in trouble, the employer is the one that's looked at. When you look at the outrage for specific companies, let's use Chick-fil-A for example, right? Remember when Chick-fil-A wore they had their employees wearing the Blue Lives Matter t-shirts, and then they had the whole thing with the LGBTQ. Everybody was looking at Chick-fil-A like, yo, what are y'all doing? They weren't coming for the employees, they were coming for the organization. Right? That's how it happens for most of the time. I think it was something similar like that with Allstate a couple years ago, and Laura Ingraham and what she said with LeBron. People were calling Allstate and leaving phone calls like, why are y'all supporting this person? Yada yada. They were coming for the organization, but right now they're not coming for the Brooklyn Nets. They're coming for Kyrie. So it makes it seem like he's a contractor versus the employee, especially with the ADL not accepting his $500,000. They accepted the Brooklyn Nets $500,000, but they didn't accept Kyrie's, to my knowledge. If that's changed, let me know. Y'all could correct me in the comments, right? But then you ask the question, why would you not accept Kyrie's money if he's an employee of the organization? And then it makes you ask the question, who made that decision to not accept Kyrie's money? What was the purpose? What was the message trying to be sent? Was his money not good enough? Was it a slight to his apology? Because that's a form of rectification. He's donating his money to a cause that he stands with. And he's saying, I am on your side by pledging $500,000. Not only that, the man is now missing $1.2 million on his check. Like I said, I'm not choosing sides. I am pointing out very valid questions that I would like the answer to and providing some of you guys with the answers that you want to know. So like I said, yeah, it's kind of weird that they didn't talk about Amazon and everybody like that. It's kind of like they're picking and choosing who they want to have an issue with. So I'm wondering if they're going to have an issue with Shaquille O'Neal and TNT after when Monday comes, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm sure it's going to be reported on Sunday, but people aren't going to start really talking about it until Monday because it's the weekend. You kind of know how the sports news cycle go. So I'm wondering if they're going to come at Shaquille O'Neal like they came at Kyrie Irving. But this is another episode with no time to explain. I'll talk to y'all later.